How are you guys doing? Wow, this is loud. Doing through it? Okay. All right, so my name is Anna Thompson. I am a learning and access designer at University of Washington, Bothell. And this is?
And I am, I don't know what I am anymore. Digital learning specialist, that's right. Got a cheat sheet right there.
Yes. We both work for the Office of Digital Learning and Innovation at University of Washington, Bothell. And we're going to talk to you about some of the projects that we have been involved in improving our campus. Okay, so just to give you a little glance of our campus, we are an offshoot, basically a satellite campus from the main University of Washington, and we have approximately 6,000 students with 40+ degree programs. And one unique thing about our campus is that over 50%, or actually a little bit more now, of our students are first generation students. We have a very diverse campus. So we wanted to talk to you in terms of innovation. Okay, so one innovation trend that we've seen and we have talked and we've heard a lot about is that trend away, or the shift away from regular classrooms, the lecture mode, and switching more onto active learning, and therefore the ALCs have become so popular. Because we know that they're not as effective, right? And if we want to maximize student learning, we need to move forward and be more student-centered. So what does innovation in the classroom look like? Okay, let's check out what's out there. Is this innovation? We see a lot of cool furniture and technology, right, out there. How about this? How about this? They use this in this school to prevent cheating, by the way. And we found even some images where they were using these boxes that would almost look like helmets to keep students from cheating in exams. I mean, that's innovation, right? It's a different idea. Okay, so how about this space? Or this one? Sometimes I think, oh wow, wouldn't it be nice to, be able to do some of these things. It'd be really, really cool. So, I mean, if you look up in the dictionary, usually innovation is a new idea, method, or the use of new ideas or methods, basically, right? And it can be a noun, a verb, and more. So it can be a different perspective. Applying creativity, new thinking about something that adds value, could be a significant positive change. Perhaps a better idea, something useful. Could be a big or a small idea. It could be a challenge or something that addresses a challenge. So for today, what we're going to concentrate on is talking about innovation in terms of collaboration, also in promoting engagement and learning, innovation on a budget, and also innovation to promote access. So we want to hear from you. So if you could connect to Poll Everywhere to answer a few questions, you can use the app or go to the browser and go to pollev.com, POLLEV.com, and then UWB Polls, POLLS. Okay, so we're going to... Oh, yes, of course. pollev.com/UWB polls. And it could be upper or lowercase. And I'm going to switch, and the link is up here too. So what are you trying to accomplish with classroom innovations? Increased collaboration, yes, and we do too. Better learning outcomes, absolutely. Simplicity and reliability. Oh my gosh, faculty are very easily confused. Do we have any faculty in the audience? Like, shh. No, but it's just of all the things that they're required to do, and so many of our faculty are also part-time, you know, work a lot for little pay. So there are a lot of things going on, right? But, so we need to keep it simple for them. Different ways of learning, absolutely, you know, break from tradition. We saw the break away from the regular lecture. Ooh! Money, right? Easy, useful technology integrations. So engagement. See, promote active learning. Better user experience. Yes, helps learning. Yes, yes. You know, my boss, another colleague, and I presented this at a Next Generation Learning Spaces in LA a couple of months ago, and we wanted to call this the active learning classroom is dead, long live active learning, and wanted to go with that. They wouldn't take that. So we stuck with the title that we have right now for this. Intuitive use of technology, absolutely. And remove things that detract and not things that add to learning, right? Make it student-centered. Yeah, somebody, oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Absolutely, yes. Yes, because it's usually, oh, that sounds great, but do you have money for that? Usually follows, right? Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna switch back to the presentation. Thank you, thank you. All right, so what we wanted to accomplish, applying some innovation, was we wanted to make learning space design a little more holistic instead of so distributed. And we wanted to enhance teaching and learning. So a lot of the same things that you guys want to do, right? We wanted to foster active learning. We wanted to create flexible processes and spaces. We wanted to take advantage of the upcoming refresh cycle. So we had my director as well as the director of physical planning. They would make all the decisions. The main team was composed of manager from IT, myself, we have a senior capital planner, campus space coordinator, and this is basically our mission. We're just designing, meeting, talking, and finding common solutions for the campus. We have input from our, oh, you know what? That's probably what happened. There you go. Yeah, that's one. Okay, don't step on that. Okay. Okay, so I am the lead of that, our active learning initiative on campus, also universal design. And we also get input from our disability services director, and then other stakeholders that give input, faculty, students, the teaching and learning center, our registrar's office, student academic affairs, facilities, library, and contractors. So we work with all of them, and we get support for both planning administration as well as academic affairs. But our team here, we are the ones that do most of the work. Good question. We used to be under IT. IT went onto the planning and admin side where the money is. We stayed on academic, but we're still working together. Okay, so we're familiar with active learning research. We know how it supports active learning. It supports our student success. And there was a study done at University of Washington in 2014 where actual scores were improved by about 6% in active learning classrooms, while students taking the same class that was lecture style were 1.5 more times likely to fail than the other students. It was a really good study. And there are many, many other studies such as that around. But it's just one that this was in STEM, but it applies also in other areas. So Seattle has some really amazing high-tech classrooms. Here is an example of one at the Odegaard Library. And after being in function for about 1.5 years, they did some studies. Some of their findings were that, yeah, there was great engagement. It's a great classroom with peers and instructors, but they found that perhaps less technology was needed. Okay? And the students love the writing surfaces, which this right here, they were glass. They love that. It didn't work very well for lecture. So if you had a class that was part lecture and part activity, the lecture part was encumbered by the technology. And there was a significant amount of support needed in training, as well as supporting whatever went wrong with cables, you know, with the technology itself, because there was so many pieces in there. So there were some barriers in there. So now, if you switch back to Poll Everywhere, could you share with us what are some barriers that you have found when trying to apply new ideas on innovation in classrooms, spaces? Yeah, adoption, that's a big one. Sometimes we fear what we don't understand, and no, we don't want to understand it either, right? Even though we're in education. But in but cables out. Those top two sometimes go together, no? Yes, faculty training. Flexibility, yes, yes. Yes, and then the faculty training, you think, oh, we're going to do this training, these workshops, and people go, yeah. Guess what happens? Yes, they don't show up. It's like, okay, I'm going to swear here, God damn it, because I always say that. It's just, why? I mean, so this is connected with some of the, we're going to be talking about tomorrow, and getting also creative or innovative on how we do professional development. But fear of failure, of course, they don't want to look like a fool up there. All design requests, yes. Budget, fear over one faculty. Key players. What do you mean by key players? Oh, stakeholders, okay, yeah. It could be, yeah, fear of tech, hard to support. I mean, there's so many barriers, right? Vendors promise more. That never happens, does it? That never happens. Don't step on that cable. All right, thank you. Excellent. So, okay, so let me tell you about classrooms by UW Bethel, okay? Go. Okay, so we have as many places, very high utilization rate. We are a very small campus, and we have been expanding to the seams where they were busting, to the point where I first looked at this like, how in the heck you get 104%? But I mean, I know why the numbers work that way, but it's just, it has been like that for a long time. So usually when that happens is when administration goes, oh, I think we need to do this online thing because we don't have any more room, right? It's not the best of reasons, but sometimes it's what gets them motivated. Okay, so this is a typical classroom, or they have been. They had not been updated since like 2000. So some of the older furniture. And we had 12 classrooms in our UW1 building we were going to redesign. And usually the lecture format is how they were set up in rows. The furniture, yeah, you couldn't move it. I mean, you could take it, you could lift it up and move it, but no wheels, right? It's just very, very grim. And, you know, it didn't really encourage engagement. The other thing is, because it was last updated in 2000 when the accessibility last came on, where it was a requirement, that was an add-on for these classrooms. Yes, of course.
See that little hole in the floor? We've had people fall into those. Their chairs are falling into the wheels.
Yeah, we took that picture with that open because even though they remain closed, so many times I walked into a classroom and they were left open. That's a hazard.
I know.
Right?
They're also guillotine for cords. Chop them if the students shut it and their cord isn't in the little latch. So students would come up to IT and they'd be like, guillotine classroom. But yeah, it's a hazard.
Yeah, yes, yes. All right. So there you go. So what did we do? Okay. So because of what we know about engagement and learning, we took 12 of those classrooms in that building and added some things to them, which you have pictures of the after, some pictures in there. I mean, we had happy students, a lot of engagement, and we couldn't afford to have those personal whiteboards. They were really amazing. They're low tech, but they work so well. But we did put them in a few classrooms. Okay, so this is an example of a very similar classroom that we just saw. So after, we had the default group format, but it was flexible. So they could still move the furniture easily, right? Personal whiteboards in several of them. And we also added one accent wall. You have no idea how many compliments, positive feedback, that one yellow wall in those classrooms, how it brightened the room and it brightened the moods, you know, the environment. So we get 3 colors. How you say Washington? Okay, we get purple or dark purple. We get gold, that yellow, which is fortunately is not the ugly one. And then we also get an olive green. We went with the yellow. So, especially after reading, we did some research on the psychology of color and how it affects environments and people's minds, mentalities, and moods, and that was the best one. Okay, so this is the look we were trying to go for. Okay, group formation, usually groups of 4, sometimes 8, and then we have some alternate configurations that were rendered by Steelcase for us. The first 2 classrooms that we did the year before were done under the Steelcase grant, about $70,000 they awarded us, and then we were able to use a lot of the lessons learned from that for these classrooms. Oh, too fast. Okay, so here's the money. So we're comparing with the Seattle campus, not the highest tech, but a higher tech classroom versus one of ours. So at about $50,000 versus $120,000 per classroom that we redesigned. And we had to accommodate the same number of students. That could not be reduced. That was a requirement. And they did not require any more staff than before. If anything, sometimes less, to support the classroom. We are, as a stage 2, we're going to upgrade our podiums as a separate project, because it's going to require a lot of rewiring. Because it's still got the old wiring, we're trying to put better quality cabling and so forth, but that's a multi-year project. And this price right here was including the personal whiteboards for the classrooms where we could put them in. Okay, so we mentioned access, okay? So we use innovation to promote more physical access, more clearance for movement, including wheelchairs, and easy access to personal whiteboards wherever those whiteboards were installed. The bottom row was always accessible and reachable by someone in a wheelchair. We made sure of that. And the space, of course, made it more student-centered. And then that group setting reinforced or added more sense of community in the classroom physically. So here's another picture. We looked at this like, oh, that's grim. But so here's a smaller classroom of 30. And then in comparison, after it was redone. With the accent wall, we had the boards. And it's a little difficult to see because of the angle, but here there's about 3.5 feet clearance with that layout. So you can have easy layout, and usually the ADA tables were at the front. They're always by the door as per ADA requirements. Yes? That is a little holder for these. Yeah, it is a product from, yes. And there's also a similar holder here on the side to hang them. It's a part of their Steelcase products. They were nice, and they provided some tools to put those things up, but they break easily. So in our next round, we include just the plain desks without those. Yes. Yes. This thing, yeah, it's what's going to be redesigned. It's a huge e-podium that has the built-in interactive screen and all the connections, mic, everything else that instructors use in the classroom. Yeah. So wireless to what? To project or? Yes, yes, all throughout. Yeah, we have redundant spots. Do you have any numbers on that, on the Wi-Fi? So before prior CIO departed, he had a big project reinforcing all of the spots even outside. So there's plenty of Wi-Fi. Yes?
Did you talk about adding electrical outlets or power strips for people to plug into?
Oh, that is a good question. When we got feedback from the students, that seems, and it's pretty common, I think, right? The students want power to plug in their stuff, aside from the floor plugs. In this, because we're going with low tech, we did not add extra power, but we're going to talk about another situation where we did, and we used that feedback. Yes? Oh, that is just the wall cover. And it is made of plastic. It's just to protect the wall as they push the chairs back. Yeah. It has proven it just saves the walls dramatically. Yes, yes. Yeah, we looked at other institutions. We started doing this. As a matter of fact, this is one of the classrooms we did with the Steelcase grant, and we didn't have that cover. And you should have seen those walls. So once we came back and did the refresh, we added that on. Yes?
On your flooring, are those carpet squares?
Um,
Added illumination without power.
right. Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. One thing that we did in the refresh on this building, we changed the carpet for all the rooms. So we stretched money, so we had enough money to do that. But yes. Good old institutional carpeting, right? Okay, all right. So we got some more pictures. We were able to visit some classrooms where they were using the whiteboards. They left them. Our department still provides the markers and the little erasers for the students to use, so we replenish those. But it's just so amazing how the feedback is. And the things that they can do that they were not necessarily done before. Okay, and another thing that it did. Do you have a question? Yeah. Right. We rely on Amazon, but what we have done is my department, for as long as we have extra money, every once in a while we have extra money, we buy extra to have in storage to replenish, because you know how it is. Some biennials you have more money than others, so they take advantage of that. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think about having the students purchase the pens themselves to, just as part of the curriculum, as it were?
Right. We have talked about it, but we have not implemented that. It's an idea that's talking about the last presentation on the Kanban boards. It is in that first column, sitting right there. So it is something that we'll consider in the future. Because really, when you're thinking about that, especially if we just see that the rate of replacement is too high, it might not be sustainable for us. Okay, so now, pass it to Salem.
The Open Learning Lab is the only computer lab we have on campus for students, no matter their department. When I started, we had 3 computer labs, and they all got condensed and turned into classrooms because space is such an issue on a small campus. And we get about 12,000 student visits per year, and we're a campus of about 6,000 students, so that's every student going in there twice at least throughout the year, potentially, or multiple students, same student going in multiple times. It's used by every school. It has media support, so we do Final Cut training, digital media, audio production, all that other fun stuff. Plus we have Windows computers for the image is exactly the same as all the other labs on campus, so students have a place to work. And it hasn't received any upgrade for about 15 years that I know of. It could have been longer. I haven't been there that long, so that's at least the way I So this is the fourth picture of the Open Learning Lab. As you can see, we have a little arrow with the hands on it saying student tutors are here, because all the emails I got from students are, where are the tutors? So I had to put a big arrow after too many of those emails. They're set up in groups of 4 on the side, the periphery of the room, and then down the middle is a huge long stretch of computers, Macs on one side and Windows computers on the other. And one of the things I noticed is students with wheelchairs, unfortunately, through the room because students wouldn't push in the chairs. While we had a room that was ADA compliant, it doesn't do anything if there's a obstacle course that you have to get through with chairs strewn out everywhere. 5 feet with 2 feet chairs sticking out in the middle don't really benefit the students that much. And I saw a student go into the lab and have to push in every chair. And it really, really bothered me. But our department had no money, absolutely zero budget to redo this lab. Campus had zero money to redo this lab. So with that, we have another question for you.
So if you had something like that, a room like that, how would you try to innovate it? Make it no money. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are you trying to keep the same number of computers?
Yeah, same with computers.
Or very close, right? As close to it as possible.
Yeah.
How many of you have labs that look like that on your campus?
Yeah, see, not common. Yeah. Crowdfunding, yeah! Oh, I would hire Dan. That will take care of it. If anyone can do it, Dan can. Okay. BYOD, one giant computer. Are we talking mainframe?
For everything.
Virtualize, yeah, that's usually a pretty good solution. I've seen it done in campus. Push your chair back in. Yes. Yeah, back to basics. Why didn't we think of that? That would have saved so much.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Crank those desks up. Okay, cool.
So, what if we were to tell you that we were able to figure out a way to get this? Technology fee, what's in the name of that? What is that by? Technology, right? Supposedly, all right. What if I was to tell you our student technology fee has absolutely no, they will never purchase furniture, but they did it in this case. Why would you think they purchase furniture when they have never done it in the whole 20-some years our campus has been around, 30 years almost? Exactly, electronic furniture. So we thought about this, and to meet the need of accessibility in the space, every single one of those desks right there are up-down desks. You can work with it all the way up here. You can work with it as low as you want it to go. There's a little button on the side. And every student has an individual control. All the desks are separate, so they have control of their individual desks. Here's another picture.
And you know, you mentioned power. See this little thing right here? Each one of those desks has a little power station for a charger plug-in as well as USB.
Absolutely. Our STF is run by students. So we were called into the principal's office, which is a room of students, and they asked us why they should be buying furniture. And before I said one word about the technology of the furniture, the students started defending themselves that technology is everywhere. It can be incorporated into many different things. And for the case of accessibility in these desks, they found it an acceptable thing. Now, our STF changes year to year, so I could say this year try again for a different room. We only have one, but theoretically, they could say no. So it was based off of the students of the year that were elected to be on the SDF committee, and they decided this was an acceptable use of the fund. Our SDF is about $1 million, and it never gets purchased. I think the only time it got funded, depleted was when they built the sports screen in the stadium, or for our sports field. So this we found would be a more acceptable use of the funds, and the students agreed with us. And this whole room cost us about $230,000 through the STF. Our department paid $1,600 for 2 chairs. We kept the original chairs, but we replaced the desks. 2 of the stations you'll see a little bit later, they're a bit higher. They're not adjustable, the tutoring stations, so we have a better chairs for that. Yeah. So all of the Windows computers are on monitor arms. They can be pushed out of the way. You have a full set, or about, let's say about 4 feet. Put your laptop down, plugs are on all the desks, and you just plug it in right there. Yeah.
First of all, did you build any collaborative space in there for a while? And number 2, is this space that is observable, like for the registrar's office that
So this room is 24, well, not 24, whenever the building is open, it is for students. It's the only room for students for a drop-in basis. It is never used for instruction. It's not for school. And we did build some collaborative space. So here's one of the students with the standing desk, and I talked about this a little bit. Our major focus was universal access. So we thought of all the things, and we worked with our vendor to see what we could do to make the room a little bit more flexible, more spacious. And what's wonderful is the desk, when the tutors go in there, they can even push the desk up a little bit, and you can push the chairs underneath the desk. So it really makes it a more open room, whereas before you couldn't even maneuver the room. And we put on the side, which were computers, we have 2 tutoring stations right here. These are iMac Pros. And we bought new chairs for this one because it's a standing one. So we bought the podium chairs. We bought a 65-inch or 75-inch touchscreen monitor, so the computer built in, called an outdoor. And we wanted a Microsoft Surface up, but they stopped selling them, of course, the year that we got the grant. We have a digital sign right in the front of the room. When you walk in the front of the room, you can touch which station you want to reserve, and it books it for 2 hours for you. And then we also have 2 45-inch monitors, and students can put their laptop at the top, or multiple laptops up, so most students have their laptops showing, so they can show those students what's going on there. So we're able to take the same amount of computers, readjust the room, make it more open, make it more flexible, make put group stations, something that we've never had before. And what's interesting is, while this station is used a lot, students only use this station because they're accustomed to study spaces. They don't use the station during the day because they're accustomed to study spaces being quiet. So what's funny is, if you go in past 5 o'clock, you're already using that monitor because nobody else, if there's no one else in the room, they're doing their work on that. They just don't want to disturb others. So there is also a changing environment that students haven't really yet experienced to make them use this when other people are in the room. We never had a quiet sign in our room, and yet they're accustomed, because of the library and other spaces, to not use interactive screens like that, where groups are supposed to meet. Thankfully, the other one they use a lot, but that one's for after most of the students go home, they use that screen.
Okay. So, yeah, we're almost out of time. And, but just going to go real quick through the impact. What are some of the things that we saw? So there was a great improvements on the students' use, the access that students have to tools, how instructors they felt they could teach more their way by using flexible classrooms. And it did seem to support more the desired type of learning, as well as the perceived effect of the classroom. There would seem to be more motivation to learn, better connections with others, facilitated problem solving, more creativity, more communication, and collaboration. So, in short, the positive impacts. So, our rooms, we wanted them to be flexible. We wanted to support a variety of methods, right? Whatever pedagogy the faculty wanted to use, support engagement and increase problem solving, creativity, collaboration, all of those things we're looking for. So going back to innovation, okay, so we feel that, you know, we implemented innovation in a variety of ways. And even continues, every once in a while we wander around and we take pictures of new layouts that instructors come up with for the classrooms. And what we accomplish? More innovation collaboration by designing this type of spaces, try to promote engagement and learning. We did it on a budget. That was a big thing right there. We had to stay within a budget. And as well as innovation to promote access. And we avoided most of the controversy. You can't avoid everything, but we avoided most of it. So, and we have got a lot of positive feedback. So we had a last question, but we can pass on this since we're out of time. But what questions do you have? Any questions for us? Yes.
Now that you've set the precedent for the computer lab, do you see the student technology fee going forward and maybe making another space or two more user-friendly?
So when we did this, when we successfully got funded for that, the computer library model, this was last year, 7 months ago. The library has now applied this year to do the same thing. Because they have the same thing, it's just rows of computers over, you know, filling up a whole room. So we'll see. You know, potentially, it might have been a one-time fluke, you know, that students said, yeah, absolutely, let's do this. Or, you know, it could continue year after year. Because of the technology built into the furniture, we were able to get a little bit creative, and I think people are seeing the creativity, and the students are demanding more labs. Mm-hmm. Because with the digital media, that stuff's expensive. Many students don't have Macs, and having a lab like that is really a benefit to all students. And I think they saw the need, but there wasn't any investment in it. And every single year, I had to go in front of the registration folks and justify the existence of that room. This justified the existence. I haven't been called in yet, so we'll see. Any other questions?
Any issues with the up-down desks?
Not one. The only thing I was worried about is it would cause a power spike, because we have all these up-down desks. Every single desk is being powered, but not one problem at all. It doesn't blow a circuit breaker or anything. You could have 18 students moving the desks up and down at the same time, and it's absolutely okay. Not one has gotten broken. The only thing is we have a railing on our wall with plugs and Ethernet in some of the spaces. So we have to move the desk a little bit farther from the wall, or it will just rip off the railing. We've had some broken Ethernet ports in the past with the non-up-down desk, so we wanted to make sure there was a little bit of space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was curious, you guys have a contract with Steelcase, and if you don't, I'm wondering if you know other manufacturers.
We do have a contract with Steelcase, and it's a sole source, so we can get from them without having to go up for bid. The problem with STF on our campus is there's not a lot of time. You get the money, you have 3 months to spend it. If you don't spend it, you lose it. So we didn't have the time to go through all of these different vendors. Mm-hmm. We have a contract with Steelcase. It works out quite well. I'm not vendor, I don't really care who the vendor is, but they had some really good stuff. It worked, and they're able to fit the need. So I had to be a little bit creative with that.
How did you do the stats after the fact?
So we use lab stats. That's the stat you're asking, right?
Well, no, the specifics of user-friendliness and the positive and negative.
We're done with some questions.
Oh, you want a beer? I'll get you a beer. What do you want?
Oh, sure.
You want wine, beer?
Yeah.
Park right here.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. And the bar is open.